Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Travel with Tonya. And today I'm going to share with you my bucket list dream that I did this year, and that is visiting Accompong in St Elizabeth. I attended the annual Maroon Festival, which is held every year on January 6th. This was just a great cultural experience. The festival celebrates the anniversary of the signing of the first peace treaty between the then Maroon leader Kojo and the British, which happened in 1739. So let me give you a little history about the whole Maroon and the festival. So in 1494, Christopher Columbus was the first European to set foot on the island and claim it for Spain. And then you had the Taino people who lived in Jamaica. Eventually, in 1510, the Spanish settled in Jamaica and forced the Taino people into slavery. Eventually, they were exterminated, so they had to replace them. So during the 16th century, they took slaves from West Africa to Jamaica and forced them into slavery. Spain would rule in Jamaica for the next 150 years. In 1655, British naval forces captured Jamaica from the Spanish. The British went on to retain power in Jamaica for the next 300 years. During the upheaval caused by the transition from the Spanish to the English rule in 1655, many of the West African slaves formerly owned by the Spanish, escaped into Jamaica's hilly interior, and they resisted slavery. They were known as the Maroons. The Maroons had many wars between the British, and the British found that they could not contain them, so they came up with peace treaties. And they had several peace treaties. The first peace treaty to be signed between the British and the Maroon was signed in 1739, and it was signed between the then Maroon leader Kojo and the British Empire. Now, Accompong is one of the 4 Maroon villages in Jamaica. You have Moortown, Charlestown, and Scotts Hall. And Accompong is located in St. Elizabeth in the Cockpit country. Now again, here's why I love St. Elizabeth. Not only is it the home to Accompong, but it's also home to the Cockpit country, and that is where you'll find Accompong. And a lot of people don't realize the importance of the Cockpit country. It is said that the Cockpit country supply 40% of the fresh water to our many rivers in Jamaica. And a lot of native plants and animals native to Jamaica can be found in the Cockpit country. So it's very important to our environment. Now, the Maroon Festival happens every year on January 6th. Now, this year, it was a 2-day event. It happened January 5th and January 6th. So the first day was a symposium link-up where they spoke about topics related to the Maroon community. And they had influential speakers there like Dr. Vereen Shepherd and Queen Dr. Hilary Brown. On the second day, they had the Kinder procession. It's an important traditional march to the Kinder tree. And the Kinder tree is where it is believed that Kojo signed the peace treaty, where he united his people. This procession, from what I understand, has been going on for 285 years. Now, let's talk about my overall experience about the Maroon Festival. Now, as I said before, the festival is in Accompong in St. Elizabeth, and it's a far journey. It's really in the rural parts of St. Elizabeth. Make sure that you have a proper vehicle to go there. The roads can be bad, bumpy, and narrow, so it can be a little bit draining. It was a far drive. I hired a drive to go there because my car is very low, so I didn't really trust the roads. My advice is to get there as early as you can because parking is a little bit sticky. They did say they had designated areas for parking, but by the time I reached there about 12 o'clock, we had to park on the road, so you would see a lot of cars parked on the roadside. So that's something to bear in mind. So if I were to go next year, I definitely would go early. So the admission fee this year was $1,000 for adults and $500 for children. If you are a Maroon native, then you don't have to pay anything. You have to prove that you're Maroon. I don't know how they do that process, but that's what they told us. And all proceeds go to the renovation of the Accompong Clinic. Now, this festival was a huge festival. There were a lot of people there from all walks of life, from all over the world, people from the UK, people from the United States, people from Europe, all over. A lot of people from other Maroon communities were there, and it was a really, really good gathering. People were there selling food, people were selling books, clothing. It was just a nice cultural melting pot experience. And it was great to see local vendors just selling their stuff to people. I love that children were there, so they were able to see a lot of this cultural stuff. Unfortunately, I arrived late, so I didn't get to see the whole Kinder celebration under the Kinder tree. I kind of missed that, and that is the most significant part of the procession, because Kinder means one family, and it's a very significant tree. They usually have a march there where, you know, people dance and sing and drum. I saw a bit of the procession, and that was very good to witness, you know, the drumming, the dancing, sprinkling of the white rum. It was very interesting, even seeing how the Maroons would dress themselves like the Maroons back in the day, with leaves to camouflage themselves in the jungle. And when they sound the Abeng, that's what we call it. That's when they blow the Abeng. The Abeng is a cow horn that the Maroons would use to communicate to each other during war. That was their form of communication to some. It was just, for me, cultural. And again, this is something I've always wanted to do. You know, it was just amazing to witness this cultural experience, you know, to hear the drumming, to hear the Abeng, to see the white rum being sprinkled, and just to see people chanting and just, you know, preserving our culture. It is said that in the peace treaty that was signed, one of the stipulations was that any slave that ran away, the Maroons would take them back and get 30 shillings in exchange for each person that they returned. It's a bit controversial, but nonetheless, they are part of our culture. Some of our cultures are preserved with them, and so I feel like it's important to showcase them. They are actually protected. The government actually acknowledges this peace treaty up to this day in terms of their land. The government, as far as I see, acknowledge that the lands belong to them. Though I feel like it's going to be challenged in a few years, but they have been very integral in protecting their land, and I feel like them being there in the Accompong country is important to the environment. So they have their purpose. They have established their communities, they have schools there, they have clinics, and so one of those things I really like to see. A lot of people, when I was growing up, thought I was a Maroon. I've not traced back my history, but a lot of people think that I'm a Maroon because I have the dark skin, I have the hair, and I feel like I have Maroon features. I don't know. So I have to go check it out. So there you have it, guys. It was a pleasure just showcasing this part of my Jamaican culture. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope this inspires you to go and visit Accompong next year. It's open to everybody. You can just go there. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please click the like button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel as yet, please subscribe. See you soon, and I hope you enjoyed this video.
We're on with my